Hi, welcome to AFTV. I've got Sheroy with me. We've just lost 3-1 to Man City at the Emirates. Our first defeat at the Emirates this season. Sheroy, the person I always love listening to, hopefully can give me some words and on your feelings. Firstly, I've asked everyone this, how are you feeling straight off the back of the defeat?
Nauseous and devastated, if I'm being honest with you. I mean, I know a lot of people in the comments often say that, you know, I'm the voice of reason or the source of optimism, but right now there is very little in the scheme of that game to be optimistic about. One of the things that I will always say is, if you simply come up against a better team and that team was operating at a higher level than you for the entire game, you eat it.
But were they?
That's the problem. That's the problem. In the first half, I thought we were operating at a much higher level than them. We created opportunities as opposed to shots. We created opportunities that we should have been better at. But then when you look at the goals that we conceded, it's not due to ability, because Tomiyasu certainly has the ability not to underhit that pass. Gabriel certainly has the ability not to just give the opponent the ball, and it's not as though the warning signs weren't there, because Gabriel, you know, had a yellow and a penalty, but there was an offside, you know, so the warning signs were there. But that today, sadly, a lot of people, I know because I've been listening to it, a lot of people are honing in on the chances that we missed, which I will get to. But the cause for concern for me is the Everton game I kind of wrote off, but I'm not an idiot. I know that they could have had a lot more goals than they scored in that first half, and we got bullied defensively, which I thought was uncharacteristic. The Brentford game, I'm not an idiot. I know they could have had a lot more goals than they scored there, and I thought that was defensively uncharacteristic. But I thought, you know what, if there's a game where you do sort of get up for it and everyone's on job, it's Manchester City, and for the first half, to an extent, we were. I thought we were quite good going forward there. And the capitulation and the way in which we gifted the goals is what was disappointing. But what really worries me now is the first few minutes we have the Xhaka chance, I think, that he sort of blazes over the bar. There's one that falls to Tomiyasu that he blazes over the bar. There's one that falls to Saka, he takes too many touches, the opportunity goes. There's another that falls to Xhaka and he holds on to it for so long and we don't get the shot off. There's a header in the first half that Eddie really ought to bury, and they scored pretty soon after that. There's another header that Eddie could have buried in the second half. That it's not even a shot on target. There's the one where Edison sort of jumps out, and we're all wondering why Eddie can't quite get his foot to it. We had enough in that game, not just to have 8 or 9 shots on target, but 3 or 4 goals, and we only got one, and it was because of a penalty. We didn't get a goal from open play there, and that's a real cause for concern. Sorry, I'm not more optimistic, but this is the truth. The reason that it hurts is because everyone was saying that it would get tough, and I knew it would get tough. But I thought that it would perhaps get tough, but things that are within our control, we would retain, and we wouldn't gift victories to opponents. Certainly not. I thought that was behind us. We've done it before. You know, we've had silly red cards, silly penalties, whatever. But I thought that was a thing of the past, and I thought we'd evolved. And my phone is vibrating in my pocket right now. I don't know any City fans, but it's United fans, it's Tottenham fans, it's Chelsea fans saying, "See, we told you." And that's what's frustrating. And I can't lie, we'll probably come on to it, but I'm quite worried about Villa.
I hear that. Is there a lot of optimism, though, to say that Thomas Partey wasn't in the side today, Gabriel Jesus was in the side today? I know you might see that as reaching, but they still got to come back to the side, and we've been so good this season. These past couple of games we haven't been, but this season we've been so good. It looks like a champion winning side. When those players return, is that when things might change? Do you believe in that, or you think this is similar to like last season? Yeah,
it may well do. And I mean, Thomas Partey wasn't in the side, but I mean, maybe not second half because everyone dropped off. But I thought Jorginho had a very good first half and contributed to a lot going forward. So Thomas Partey's absence in that sense wasn't necessarily felt. And we can talk about Jesus not being there. Of course, he's a magician, but there have been crunch games, you know, against United at home, whatever, where Eddie has stepped up. And it's not as though we didn't create the chances for him today. So, I mean, we can talk about players coming back, but this is not an ability problem, because we know that our players are far better in possession than what they showed in the second half, because they showed it in the first half. They showed it in the first half of this game, and they showed it in the first half of this season. So if it's not ability, what is it? And a lot of people are talking about momentum and losing momentum in the Man City FA Cup game and not quite coming back from it. The reason I dismissed that was we lost to PSV and came back very quickly. We lost to Brighton in the Carabao Cup and came back very quickly. This, sadly, is a team that's never been there before, that, in my opinion, has let the occasion get to them. And it's not the first time I've seen it. We let the occasion get to us, Tottenham away last year. Sadly, we've done it today, and that's what's worrying. That being said, I'm going to move on to some more positives now.
Okay, but quickly, before we go into more positives,
go on.
So you think it's you say it's them that haven't been here before is the reason why. It's nothing to do to Pep's changing at halftime, maybe going back to the back four, his tactical awareness to change up when it went to 1-1, or is it more because these players are young and they haven't been here before? What's more swaying? What side are you more swaying to?
Well, look, young and haven't been there before isn't an excuse. It's a reason, but it's not an excuse. But yes, they were better in the second half. They pressed better in the second half, but that ball from Gabriel for the second goal, he really isn't under as much pressure as one would think a pass like that warrants. Yeah. And I would say the same about Tomiyasu, that there were other options there. There were other options there. That for me was just nerves. It looked it. And the reason I say it's nerves is because it wasn't just him. Everyone was at it. Yeah. Everyone was at it. Even our best technicians. If you're looking at people like Odegaard, there were a number of people. Zinchenko, where you're just playing. Even Xhaka, there was one pass where he's sort of trying to play it out to the left. There's absolutely no pressure on him, and he overhits it and it rolls out for a goal kick. That's why I think. I don't know. I wasn't on the pitch, but that's why to me it looked like nerves, and that's exactly the sort of capitulation that people like Gary Neville spoke about, and that's why it hurts so much, because I didn't think it would happen this quickly, and I didn't think it would happen the way that it has. Yeah. But can I go on to the positives?
Let's do the positives. I need them.
Fine. Look, one thing I would say is, yes, we didn't play well for the full 90. But if anyone thinks that was a one-sided game for the full 90, they're mistaken, because we should have been, in my opinion, ahead in the first half. I think maybe going in level was fair, but we should have been ahead in the first half. A lot of people are saying that you can't win the title in January or February. I agree, but applying that same logic, you can't lose the title. You know, in that space of time, particularly when you're still on their coattails. Yeah. You know, we're on their coattails on goal difference. We do have the game in hand, and I'm not going to clutch onto that because I did that last year and it burned me a bit.
Amen.
But this is not irreparable damage. This is not irretrievable. As you say, there are players to come back, but we can't rest on that. And I think the players that we have today, based on the first half, showed that they were good enough. Yeah. And one of the things that we did very well, despite the fact that in the first half, you know, we've beaten Tottenham. We've done the double on Tottenham. Yeah. We've beaten Manchester United. We've beaten Chelsea. One of the things we did very well is put everyone else to the sword. In this title race, we have seen already Manchester City dropping points to teams that you wouldn't necessarily expect them to drop points to, but they've also lost to Manchester United. They've also lost to Tottenham. They've also lost to Liverpool. They're not invincible. There is vulnerability there. It is very much, can we get our act together? Can we get back to winning ways? Can Arteta ensure that we use this pain and we use this devastation and ensure that it manifests itself into something positive? That's what a young manager can do. That's what a tight squad can do. That's what a manager gets paid for. This is where he has to show his worth. I love the attitude, you know, when Tomiyasu made the mistake, Odegaard immediately goes up to him, pulls his chin up. You know, those sorts of things, that's fantastic. That's fantastic. That now needs to manifest itself in better performances. We can talk about not scoring goals, but I need to see us tighten up at the back now. Because you do not win games by conceding 3. And if you do, very rare. Very rare. We have to get back to what we were doing before. We were very tight at the back. I didn't worry when Saliba was on the ball. Exactly. I didn't worry when Saliba was on the ball. I didn't worry when Zinchenko was on the ball. Didn't worry when Gabriel was on the ball. Never worried when Tomiyasu was on the ball. Today there were a lot of moments in that second half where I did worry. We need to put that to bed. And then after that, you can build, and your free-flowing football comes again, and then the goals come. You know, this is now a question of how do we restore that confidence. So the question that we were debating was, can you win the league and will you win the league, right? I don't want to talk about will because I can't see into the future. Can we win the league? Yes.
Shop for AFTV merch at shop.aftv.co.uk. Subscribe to us on YouTube. Follow us on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, TikTok, Snapchat and Twitch. We've got content for every platform, so check it out.